you motherfucker. What, motherfucker? Now you getting racist? He's getting racist? What is that? Come on, motherfucking Mexicans.
In the world of boxing, few trainers have shaped champions the way Freddie Roach has. From Manny Pacquiao to Miguel Cotto, his gym, Wildcard Boxing Club in Los Angeles, became a breeding ground for legends and a home for fighters who wanted to push themselves beyond limits. But behind the humble smile and soft-spoken demeanor lies a man of fierce conviction. Roach doesn't mince words, and when he dislikes someone, he makes it known. Sharp, honest, and unapologetic. He's never been afraid to call out fighters he believes represent what's wrong with the sport. Arrogance, avoidance, or disrespect toward boxing's core values. Over decades in the fight game, Roach's respect has always been earned through dedication, humility, and courage. Those who lacked it, he clashed with. He's had heated exchanges with legends, modern stars, and even internet sensations. To him, hatred isn't always personal. It's professional, born from frustration over fighters who he feels taint the sport he devoted his life to. Whether through their words, their attitude, or their refusal to fight the best, they made his blood boil. These are not just petty feuds or press headlines. They're reflections of a trainer's fierce pride and deep love for boxing. From his verbal shots at Floyd Mayweather to his disdain for Jake Paul's showmanship, Freddie Roach has never hidden his emotions. What follows is a look at the 6 fighters he openly admitted to disliking, the stories behind each conflict, and what those rivalries revealed about one of boxing's most respected minds. 1. Floyd Mayweather Jr. No name brings out Freddie Roach's disdain more than Floyd Mayweather Jr. For years, their rivalry wasn't fought in the ring. It was fought in interviews, press conferences, and headlines. Roach respected Mayweather's skill, but detested his attitude. Floyd's not a good role model, Roach once said. He's insecure, and he doesn't take risks. To him, Mayweather represented the opposite of everything boxing should stand for: courage, competition, and heart. The tension built over a decade as fans demanded the super fight between Mayweather and Pacquiao. Roach believed Floyd delayed it intentionally to preserve his undefeated record. He picks his opponents carefully, Roach argued. He never fought anyone at their best. Look at who he fought, and when he fought them. It says everything. For Roach, Mayweather's style of fighting, defensive, cautious, calculated, wasn't artistry, it was avoidance. He wanted to see fighters dig deep, take hits, and give back. Not run, not hug, not play safe. Even after the fight finally happened in 2015, Roach's resentment didn't fade. Mayweather won on points, but Roach felt it was an empty victory. He believed Floyd fought to not lose rather than to win. He's great at protecting his record, Roach said, but boxing's about giving people a fight. 2. Canelo Alvarez. Freddie Roach admired Canelo Alvarez's power and technique, but admiration doesn't equal affection. In fact, Roach's frustration with Canelo grew over time as the Mexican star's career decisions began to clash with his ideals. Roach's issue wasn't with Canelo's skill, it was with his choices. He didn't like Canelo's move up in weight, and he said it bluntly. Canelo's not the same at light heavyweight. He's slower, his output drops, and he's not as sharp. To Roach, the higher divisions became a vanity project, a show of power that didn't always serve the sport. He believed that by chasing belts across multiple weights, Canelo was stretching himself thin, prioritizing image over performance. Roach, who built fighters brick by brick, saw that as arrogance disguised as ambition. Sometimes fighters forget who they are when success comes too easy, he once commented, hinting that Canelo had lost some of the hunger that defined him early on. Their friction deepened when Roach questioned Canelo's stamina and criticized his tactical approach in certain fights. He felt that Canelo often coasted through rounds rather than dominating with intent. To Roach, boxing wasn't about doing just enough to win, it was about breaking your opponent's will. He accused Canelo of fighting in moments rather than in full command, especially when faced with skilled mobile opponents. 3. Adrien Broner. Adrien Broner's loudmouth, flashy lifestyle, and love for attention made him a constant target for Freddie Roach's criticism. Roach couldn't stand fighters who talked more than they fought. and Broner was the epitome of that. When asked about Broner, Roach once said flatly, "He's scared of Pacquiao." That statement wasn't about fear in the literal sense. It was about Broner avoiding greatness, avoiding true tests. Broner called himself the next Mayweather, but to Roach, he was a poor imitation, a showman without substance. He believed Broner was wasting his talent by chasing fame instead of focusing on discipline. Roach's dislike stemmed from frustration. He saw potential, but he saw arrogance destroy it. "He's got skills," Roach said, "but no respect for the sport." When Pacquiao finally fought Broner in 2019, Roach got to witness firsthand what he'd been saying for years. Broner talked big but froze under pressure. Pacquiao dominated him, and Roach saw it as vindication. After the fight, he called Broner's pre-fight behavior embarrassing and said he never respected fighters who tried to sell fights by acting like clowns. 4. Teddy Atlas. Few rivalries in boxing have been as personal as the one between Freddie Roach and Teddy Atlas. Two brilliant minds, two fiery personalities, and absolutely no love lost. When Atlas began criticizing Roach's training methods and questioned Pacquiao's preparation for fights, Roach didn't stay silent. "I don't like him, and he doesn't like me," Roach said simply. Their feud went beyond boxing. It was about philosophy, ego, and history. Atlas, known for his emotional tirades and strong opinions, often used his analyst platform to question Roach's decisions. Roach saw that as unnecessary and disrespectful. He felt Atlas made boxing about himself instead of the fighters. "He talks too much," Roach once remarked. "He's more of a performer than a trainer." For Roach, the gym was sacred, a place for hard work, not theatrics. Atlas, in his eyes, blurred that line. The animosity deepened during the build-up to Pacquiao's trilogy fight with Timothy Bradley when Atlas was working with Bradley. Roach dismissed Atlas as overrated, while Atlas accused Roach of being outdated. Their verbal jabs were sharp and unfiltered, and neither man backed down. Roach's dislike wasn't rooted in jealousy, it was in principle. He believed Atlas disrespected him publicly for attention. 5. Jake Paul. When Freddie Roach speaks about Jake Paul, his tone changes. Sharp, disgusted, almost dismissive. To him, Jake Paul is not a boxer. He's a YouTuber, masquerading as one. Their feud began when Roach accused Paul of lying about training sessions and using boxing for attention rather than respect. "He's a hater," Jake Paul fired back. But in truth, Roach saw Paul as something far worse, a threat to boxing's credibility. Roach's issue wasn't personal, it was philosophical. He believed boxing was a sacred craft that demanded years of pain, repetition, and humility. Jake Paul, with his social media antics and self-promotional empire, represented the opposite. "He's making a circus out of the sport," Roach said. He despised the way Paul turned fights into entertainment spectacles, calling out retired legends or smaller opponents for easy wins. The two traded verbal blows in the media, especially after Paul boasted about sparring sessions involving Mike Tyson. Sessions Roach publicly denied ever happened. "He lies to get clicks," Roach said, disgusted by the distortion of boxing's traditions. For a man who spent his life in dimly lit gyms helping real fighters fight real wars, the rise of influencers in boxing felt like an insult. 6. Robert Garcia and Brandon Rios' camp. If there's one feud that nearly turned physical, it's the one between Freddie Roach and Robert Garcia's camp during the 2013 Pacquiao versus Rios fight week. It wasn't just tension, it was chaos. The two camps clashed at the Venetian gym in Macau when Roach tried to start his team's workout and Garcia's crew refused to leave. Words were exchanged, insults were hurled, and Roach called Garcia's assistant a piece of shit. A shove turned into a near brawl. To the cameras, it looked like a spontaneous explosion, but to Roach, it was about respect. He believed Garcia's camp